Welcome to Recap King. In this video, we will explain the hard way. This movie tells a story of a former soldier who discovered that his brother was killed in a mission. So, he intends to investigate the case and avenge his brother. Will he succeed in uncovering the case of his brother's death and avenge him? Let's find out in The Hard Way. The Hard Way tells a story of a man named Cody, who is chased by several men. Gunfire is unavoidable until Cody is shot. Before he died, Cody mentioned the names of Lucy, Toro, and John to Mason, his close friend and colleague. Apparently, Cody took something from Toro and left something for John. While not mentioning what he left for John Payne, Cody assured John would know what he meant. The scene moves to a bar called Payne Bar. John Payne sat alone and chatted with the bartender in sign language, and his nephew, who works at the bar, expressed admiration for him. Payne, a former soldier, insists that he is nothing compared to his brother, Cody. At that point, two people walked into the bar and attempted to shoo Payne away, asking him to move the bar to another area. The bar apparently has sentimental value for Payne. Long ago, Payne's father died in front of the bar after being denied entry. Payne refuses to move the bar to another location, despite an offer of $20,000, and immediately beats up the two. After the fight, Payne receives a phone call from Arnold, informing him of Cody's death. Payne flew to Bucharest, Romania, to bury Cody. But before that, Payne came to see Arnold, and he confirmed that Cody would be buried in Romania. Arnold tells about how Cody died, which he apparently died on a mission to infiltrate a drug syndicate that roots in Eastern Europe. Arnold sent a DS to keep an eye on Cody and Mason because he thought they were not ready for the mission. But Arnold refuses to explain in more detail to Payne about the mission carried out by Cody that led him to death. Payne then sees Cody's body and visits his brother's house. At Cody's funeral, Payne meets Mason, who looks devastated. Besides, a mysterious blonde-haired woman stares at Cody's coffin before walking away. Payne eventually followed the woman, who got into the car with two male bodyguards. Outside the church where Cody is buried, Vali Bibescu, a police officer from the Bucharest police force, approached Payne. Vali previously worked in a team with Mason and Cody. Vali tells Payne that there is a conspiracy in Cody's death related to the murder of a secret informant. Payne asks Vali to give him time to take care of Cody's funeral first before talking to him and Mason. On the other hand, a blonde woman walked into the studio's back door. Mason watched the blonde woman from the car before finally sneaking into the building. But Mason is not alone. While he was on stage, another man suddenly shot him. The fight is back. Mason tried to escape and shot the men in the building. After covering the man's corpse he shot to death, Mason called Vali and explained that he was originally stalking Joe Vig at Frankie's studio before the shootings took place. Mason asked Vali to meet him tomorrow morning and bring him a tape to show Arnold and reveal everything. Vali apparently has a harmonious family, his wife is pregnant, and his daughter is a teenager. Vali's wife asks Vali to enjoy their night together because he looks lethargic lately after Cody's death. Just then, the doorbell rang, and the street lights went out. However, Vali didn't see anyone outside. When the bell rang again, Vali's wife opened the door and was immediately shot dead. Three masked men entered the house and opened fire on Vali and his family. Even Vali's daughter taking a bath couldn't escape their attack. Then, Arnold goes to Mason after Vali's death and asks Mason not to tell Payne, although Mason believes Payne can help them. Arnold then asks Mason to meet him tomorrow morning and hide first tonight. But Mason disobeys Arnold's orders and calls Payne to ask him to meet. Mason and Payne meet at a nightclub. Payne meets a bartender and dancer named Monica. Another dancer on stage, named Sky, appears to be Payne's ex-girlfriend. Arnold finds out that Mason will be meeting Payne and asks where they will meet. On the other hand, Sky knows that Payne came to the bar not to see her, but for work. Then, she is angry and leaves him. Payne and Mason finally meet, and Mason explains Cody's death. But Mason and Payne's attention is distracted when Sky is pulled by a group of men into a room. Payne follows into the room to save Sky, beating the men. After that, Payne returns to Mason, who explains that they are on a mission to solve Toro's case. Mason reveals that Vali has a recording of a prostitute killed by Joe Vig. Joe Vig is a violent capo in the Toro syndicate. Vali showed the tape to Cody, who couldn't accept the heinous treatment of a prostitute known to be a teenage girl. So Cody was chasing Vig. The pursuit ends with Cody's death. Surprisingly, Mason said Vig was behind him, just getting into the nightclub. Vig is not alone. He spoke to a man who was his accomplice, Frankie Fine. Mason explains that Frankie runs a line of bar businesses for Vig. Every Monday and Thursday, Vig came to the bar to check on the new dancing girls, who would later become accomplices in bringing drugs to Toro. Before Cody's death, he apparently had evidence given by Ash Pulaski that Toro was behind the case. But Cody hid the evidence, and Mason couldn't find it. Mason then invites Payne to view the footage in hopes that he can help find the evidence that Cody was hiding. Then, Mason gives Cody's gun to Payne. Mason exits the nightclub and meets Arnold. Mason is angry because he feels he is the only one trying to solve the case. Meanwhile, Arnold feels Mason is making the problem bigger than Cody's death. After Arnold left, a car pulled up near Mason, and several men got out to beat him up. Mason fought and managed to beat one of the men and took his gun. Just then, a car hit Mason, and they escape. Payne returns to Cody's house and easily finds the evidence in a book. The evidence apparently contains video footage of the torture carried out by Vig on the orders of Toro. Payne attempts to unlock Cody's phone and finds a video of Cody saying he didn't know who to trust. In the video, Cody said he had the $5 million that Ash took from Toro and would use it for later negotiations. The money is kept in a castle at Maguea Palace. Cody said that only his older brother, Payne, he could trust. After that, Payne finds the key along with Cody's belongings. The next scene shows Vig approaching Monica, who has just returned from the nightclub with Sky. Vig asked about the two men they met at the nightclub, and Monica said they were just customers. But Sky finally admitted that the man was her ex-boyfriend. Monica apparently took money from the club, and Vig tried to catch her. But then, Monica and Sky ran away. The next day, Mason comes to Cody's house and is almost beaten by Payne, who thinks he is the enemy. Mason says he was beaten after leaving the club, and he believes the culprit is not Vig but Toro. Mason tells Payne that Volley might have been killed for not showing up that morning. Toro had apparently tried to kill Mason twice and thought he was dead. Mason then explains about Ash, Cody's informant, before he died. Then Payne shows the videotape and believes the evidence is enough to imprison Vig. Apparently, Cody has a wife, Lacey Love. Payne asks what Mason knows about Lacey's sister, Erin. Mason and Payne then meet Lacey and Erin. Lacey reveals that during her marriage to Cody, she was trying to save him. While Payne is talking to Lacey, Mason meets Erin. In the past, Lacey had apparently become Frankie's subordinate and was threatened with taking the girls. Lacey says that Vig is very cruel, but Toro is a demon, and she was forced to enter the world of drugs because Erin's safety was threatened. Lacey reveals that there will be a massive delivery, and Frankie will bring the girls. On the way, Payne received a new video. This time it shows Toro torturing Sky and Monica. The video ends with an explosion, which means Monica and Sky are dead. Payne comes to Frankie's studio, where Frankie is watching the girls practice dancing. Payne beats Frankie when he refuses to tell him where Vig is, and beats up the security guard called in to save Frankie. Finally, Frankie tells Payne that Vig is upstairs. Payne beats Vig when he knows that Vig blew up Monica and Sky. Frankie pleads not to be killed and admits that he was coerced by Toro, and he reveals that Toro is actually obsessed with Lacey and only came to see her. Payne then goes to Lacey and accuses her of being Toro's girlfriend. Lacey swears that she loves Cody and is only forced by Toro. Payne finally asks Lacey to work together to bring Toro to meet him at Maguea Palace that evening. Payne has Lacey tell Toro that all his accomplices are dead and Payne has his $5 million. Toro can only exchange between money or Lacey. The moving scene shows Payne asking Arnold for help and informing him of the meeting he arranged with Toro. Payne asks Arnold to provide backups, but Arnold insists that Toro has nothing to do with Cody's death. Arnold refuses to help Payne, so only Mason and himself will face Toro. At Maguea Palace, Mason prepares weapons. He also prepared some explosives around. Maguea Palace apparently has a bottomless pit, which Payne says is the door to hell in his narrative. Payne waited alone as Mason stalked the two vans surrounding them. Sure enough, a group of armed men got out of the car. Toro came with a large group of armed guards. Unfortunately, Mason's hiding location was discovered, making him have to move. Just then, Toro pulled Lacey out and held her hostage. Payne is still hiding when Mason starts shooting at the guards. He also opened fire on the guards while remaining hidden, so that only Toro was left alone. Payne says the money is in the chapel to lure Toro out. Just at that moment, the remaining bodyguards find Payne's hideout and are about to shoot him. Lacey screamed for Payne to see the guards, but she was the one who got shot. It was then that Toro's true identity was revealed. Toro is actually Arnold. Gunfire erupted again even though Arnold fled into the chapel. Payne followed him inside and was threatened with a gun. Arnold asked him to throw away the gun and show him where the money was. Payne brought the suitcase containing the money to Arnold and he said he actually already knew that Toro was Arnold. He knows that from the hat and also the weapon used by him. A bodyguard who appeared to be part of Arnold's team confronted Mason outside the building. The bodyguard was the one who killed Volley and his family. Then Mason remembered the bodyguard coming to Cody's funeral, even shaking hands with Volley. The fight between the two ensued until the bodyguard fell from a height and died. While Payne asked why Arnold did that, killing all of his members, Arnold apparently killed Cody because Lacey loved him. Arnold then shoots Payne, picking up the suitcase he dropped, but Payne got to his feet before Arnold shot him all over again. For the second time, Payne stood up and said that Arnold would pay for everything he did to Monica, Sky, Volley and his whole family, and Cody. Apparently, when Payne met Arnold at the office for help, he traded his gun for an empty bullet. A fight between the two ensued. Even though the fight was a draw, Payne managed to outperform until finally kicking Arnold into the bottomless hole. The Hard Way concludes with Payne arriving at a cafe 3 weeks later. Lacey worked as a waitress at the cafe and said she would see Payne in a moment. Through the window, Payne saw Mason watching the cafe. Lacey apparently changed her name to Adina and was pregnant with Cody's child. On the other side of the cafe, Aaron was reading a book. Payne borrowed Lacey's pen and wrote something down on paper. When Lacey returned with coffee for Payne, he promised that everything would be fine. Before leaving, Payne apparently left a briefcase filled with money and a message for Lacey to meet him in New York, and he said that his Payne bar was renamed Cody's. Payne then walked with Mason, talking to each other about their future life plans. The moral that can be learned from this movie is that love can blind someone and make them willing to do anything, even the negative things.